Hey guys, welcome back to RUE MORGUE TV. Executive Editor Andrea Subasati here with some furry friends shooting on location at the RUE MORGUE Manor, and we are here to formally invite you to join us over on Patreon. We've got a lot of great stuff going on over there, including every episode of the RUE MORGUE Radio Archives. You guys begged us for this. It's the only place you can find RUE MORGUE Radio. We're also going to be having a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff, the hijinks going on around here, giveaways, voting privileges, all that good stuff. So check out the link below and enjoy the episode. See you next time.
Hi, I'm Mike from Whiskey Morgue, and welcome to another episode of Horror on the Rocks on RUE MORGUE TV, where I pair what I'm drinking with the horror movies that I'm watching. Today, I'm exploring one of my favorite genres, probably one as old as cinema itself, vampires. Pour a drink, and let's sink our teeth in. So, in at number 5 is Lost Boys.
You'll never grow old, Michael, and you'll never die.
Now, David and his gang of leather-wearing, motorcycle-riding vampires are the epitome of cool.
How far are you willing to go, Michael?
This iconic film is probably the reason I grew up wanting to be a vampire myself. Growing up watching Lost Boys, I find you were in one of two camps. You were either team Edgar and Alan, the two Coreys, the vampire hunters, or you were team David and his gang of vampires. Personally, me, I wanted to eat Chinese takeout, drink straight from the bejeweled wine bottle with the vampires. For my first pairing, I'm going with Submission, a Cabernet Sauvignon that also hails from California, like Lost Boys. So the intent behind the name Submission is that every time you open and enjoy a bottle, you submit and surrender yourself to the experience. Funny enough, every time I open up a bottle, I feel like I can hear the chanting, Michael, 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 Michael. This wine is packed with flavors. You get blackberry, blueberry, chocolate. More importantly, it tastes way more expensive than it is. So I find it's great for at home, or if you're entertaining, going to a party. What's that quote from the movie? Sleep all day, drink all night, never grow old. Who am I kidding? I am old. I have a child and I'm tired. Dad. So drink this, be one of us. In at number 4 is Interview with the Vampire.
I'm flesh and blood, but not human.
Now, Interview marked the resurgence of vampire popularity in the early 90s. And in Anne Rice fashion, we get more emotionally driven vampires and a whole lot of sexual tension.
He chose one man. He gave him infinite power, eternal life, and a daughter who would be forever young.
Lestat's pursuit of Louis arguably birthed the melodramatic vampire and paved the way for all the modern emo vampires. I am pairing Interview with Four Roses Small Batch Select. The name Four Roses encapsulates romance. So the backstory is that founder Paul Jones Jr. wanted to court a Southern belle he was infatuated with. He sent a proposal to turn her into a Jones. If she said yes, she would show up to the upcoming grand ball wearing a corsage of 4 roses. So although this story is like super romanticized, it kind of sounds like what Lestat did to Louis and everybody.
You're a vampire. You never knew what life was until it ran out in a red gush.
So this is one of my favorite bourbons because its high rye content makes it very sweet, fruity, spicy, which allows it to shine through in a cocktail. For the cocktail, what I've gone with is a bourbon sweet tea. For this, what I did is I threw in some steeped tea, has to be black, like your soul, lemon-infused simple syrup, a couple ounces of bourbon, some bitters, and you got your sweet tea. This is the perfect cocktail for Interview because Louis enjoys a drink or two, and Lestat has been known to be a sophisticated man who enjoys his tea.
I want some more.
In at number 3 is From Dusk Till Dawn.
Everybody be cool. You be cool.
Dusk Till Dawn has everything you could want in an action-packed vampire film. You get George Clooney looking like a stud with his neck tattoo. You get Tarantino in a rare lead role.
Sure.
Salma Hayek sexually draped in snakes. Danny Trejo as a jacked vampire.
Welcome all.
And even Tom Savini, the sex machine with his phallic gun. Like, seriously, what more could you ask for? I'm pairing this one with Casamigos Tequila. Now, the story predominantly takes place in a bar where the tequila is flowing as much as the blood. So what better than to pair it with George Clooney's own tequila, which he has since sold for billions of dollars, but they still use his face. The way Casamigos came together was from a lot of tequila-filled nights with friends. And what they said they wanted to do was produce something that didn't have to be masked with salt or lime. But in this case, I feel like the salt might have helped with their vampire problem. Just a bit.
We might be in trouble. There are a bunch of fucking vampires out there trying to get in here and suck our fucking blood.
This tequila is solid in terms of flavor. You get a ton of notes of vanilla, oak, there's some herbal qualities, and peppered agave. As much as I feel like this would shine in a cocktail, at this bar, you're either taking a shot or drinking it off someone's leg. In at number 2 is Let the Right One In. Let the Right One In isn't just a great vampire story, it's a great story, period.
Är du vampyr? Hade du tyckt om mig ändå?
The friendship between 12-year-old Oscar and a centuries-old vampire Ellie really depict how cold and isolating adolescence can be. I think this movie resonates with a lot of us because although many of us didn't grow up with vampires as friends, we did have those best friends who are our confidants, our protectors, that one person you would dismember someone for. I'm pairing this movie with Laphroaig Cargis. This bottle is a literal representation of friendship because the name Cargis in Gaelic means friendship. The reason I started Whiskey Morgue is because whiskey, like horror, brings people together. And some of my most intimate conversations with close friends involved a bottle of Laphroaig and very late nights. So this bottle has a ton of bold smoke, medicinal notes that intermingle with like honey and chocolate and a bit of pepper, which plays really well into a cocktail called the penicillin. For the cocktail, you're basically throwing together some blended scotch, some ginger and honey, with a little bit of fresh lemon juice, and you're topping it up with something like this, or really any other Isla that's gonna offer that smoky medicinal note. So number 1 was a toss-up between 2 films. When trying to decide which perhaps was the most formative vampire movie, many would argue that it was Nosferatu, but I have to go with my heart on this one, and one of my favorite films, I'm going with Universal's 1931 Dracula.
Dracula, you wonder if it isn't all a dream, a nightmare.
Bela Lugosi's performance as Dracula is commanding and hypnotic.
Dracula. The very mention of the name brings to mind things so evil, so fantastic, so degrading.
His Hungarian accent, his dapper presentation are both synonymous with Dracula. He made Dracula a cultural icon and changed the face of horror. To many, and to myself, he is Dracula.
This is Dracula, the original terrifying story of a maniac and a man who lived after death.
Now, this is a bit ironic because Lugosi's depiction of this suave Dracula is quite contradictory to what's in Bram Stoker's text, who gives a more grotesque description of Dracula. I am pairing this one with Empress Gin 1908 because this gin is as regal as Dracula. Take this out while entertaining people at a party and watch how it hypnotizes and commands an audience.
Dracula? Oh, what's he done to you, dearie? Tell me.
So for this one, we're going with a play off of the traditional old-fashioned, except we're using gin, some simple syrup, a couple dashes of bitters, and lemon substituting the orange. The reason why this is a party favorite is because it has the ability to change color depending on what you add to it. In this case, I added a little bit of lemon to the cocktail, and it turned into royal purple. So if you're hosting a party this spooky season, invite your friends in for this classic cocktail revamped.
I am Dracula.
Narrowing down some of my favorite vampire pairings was not easy. There were so many bloody classics I wish I could have included, and I hate that I was limited to just 5. So let me know some of your favorite vampire films, and better yet, let me know what drinks you're pairing them with. That's it for this episode of Horror on the Rocks on RUE MORGUE TV. I'm Mike from Whiskey Morgue. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, remember to let the blood and booze flow. Cheers.
Is he thinking about it?